So, in an effort to not just focus on plant life and make you think that all I do is gardening, I thought I'd come back and bring up some of the things that I've been learning a lot lately with code, which is something that I actually had to kind of develop myself, and that is SQL to Python pandas data frames. Um, because it is super annoying because if you just run uh, this code up here, all you're going to get for your column names is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on and so forth. Um, so what I did is I also developed this right here. And I'm not going to say that I developed it personally, obviously. Like for my code, yes, I developed it. But like I'm sure that somebody else designed it before I ever did. I actually just thought, hey, you know what, let's just try this. So what this does is it's going to get all of the data for you, but it's not going to take. I shouldn't say that. It might just take the column names, but whenever you transfer it to a data frame, and I can't think of this off the top of my head, I'm sorry, is that it goes to a 0, 1, 2, 3, and that's your header. Super annoying. So I added this little part here. Now what this does is it runs a SQL command to get the column names from the table that we're working on over here. And realistically, we can throw this up here as well, so that we can use this for multiple data frames where we want to collect all. So that, and then if we do that here, we're going to have to put that in single quotes and then add it in, and then get that where the single quotes are inside the double quotes, which this part is going to be in a double quote added to this variable. This part is going to be in the double quote added to this, and then this part is going to be a double quote added to this. So that's how that's going to run. And then I can do the same thing down here and blah blah blah. Anyway, let's just obviously, oh no, I don't believe we need a, could be wrong, but not from my experience. Okay, so we're gonna take all that out for the time being. It's just an idea to throw out there, which if you're anything like me, you see something and you're like, oh, hey, can I use this for a little bit more functionality? So, you try it out and everything, and sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. So what this is going to do here is it's going to collect all of those column names from your table, and it's going to capture them here from the cursor. The cursor basically grabs it, and it's like a temporary thing. It's the same thing with writing. This works as a temporary thing. The cursor, it's temporary. So when you do that, you have to, when you're writing, you have to put in, like basically, you have to. I'm just gonna say you have to hit the commit. And I'll have to cover that somewhere else because I'm not prepared to cover it here because I'm prepared to cover this subject. So what that's going to do is them into this temporary list called column names. Now, column names, just so you understand what that's going to print out, because this is not designed to actually connect to a running database, but how it's going to end up looking is going to be column 1, and then it's going to be 0, and then column 2, then 0. So we already have this big problem here because we have to go through and we have to say for each in column names. So that's going to be, each is going to look like this. So there's your each. Just so you can kind of get an idea of what I'm saying. That is each. It's this whole thing inside this parentheses. So whenever we go for each in column names, we're going to grab this whole thing here. So now we have to pick which one we want. Well, it's already separated. It's already split with this comma. So what we want is each 0. This is position 0. Remember, it starts with 0. Then this would be 1. So with each 0, we're grabbing this column number right here. And unfortunately, I haven't found a better way of doing this. This is just the way it is. But now we have this list called columns, and we're appending each one of these to columns. This is going to take some time because we're doing it one by one. Again, not always going to be the best developer, and even if you are, you're not always going to have a great solution. So what this now does is that now we have a list of our columns. Up here we have our data that is up there. Okay. And now down here we are going to create the names in columns, we have the data. Okay, fine. The df, the data frame, is going to equal PD data frame from the data. And now here's an important thing. This is one of those catchers that we're going to build, where we have data frame shape. The data frame shape is going to have columns and rows, and basically if it is 0, if there's no columns or rows, then the data frame columns equal the columns. Oh, if it's greater than 0, sorry. So if there are rows, so the number of rows, because this is the count of rows in the data frame, if it's greater than 0, then the df, the data frame columns, equal the columns from our columns list. And then we return that data frame. If not, we're going to print the data frame as it is, which should be 0. What it's going to end up is saying that it has no rows, no columns, and then we're going to print no data available for a data frame, and then pass. And this is originally designed to go through and build data frames for different items in the data frame. So it would be like where a column has a certain value, that would be the data frame. It's a whole nother thing. So beyond that, that's how I am designing my SQL data frames, sorry, my Python data frames from SQL, is because of the fact that it is so annoying. I'm so sorry, but I can't constantly go through and use 0 and 1 and 2 and then not know what I'm talking about, because a 0 is not describing the column the way I need it to be described. And I know I didn't actually run the code, and I'm sorry about that, but I don't really have a good example database running right now for this. I'll tell you what, maybe if I get some subscribers off of this, I'll run it off the actual database.